School assignment.
In connection with the Jewish question, I have this to say. It is a shameful spectacle to see how the whole democratic world is oozing sympathy for the poor, tormented Jewish people, but remains hard-hearted and obdurate when it comes to helping them, which is surely, in view of its attitude...
I'm going to tell you a story about Robbie Weisman, a Holocaust survivor. He grew up in Poland, and at the age of 8, he was sent to a concentration camp alongside his family. He went through brutal conditions, but survived till the age of 14 in 1945. He ended up going to Canada and starting a business in Vancouver and wrote the history books we all believe in.
As immigrants.
Skarżysko Kamienna labor camp. He was forced to work in an ammunition factory under brutal conditions. Buchenwald concentration camp. Robbie was later deported to Buchenwald in Germany, where he endured harsh treatment and witnessed immense suffering until his liberation in April 1945. Word got out in 1949 of his sorrows during the war. He describes Canada as a place of opportunity and healing.
The German nations.
Auschwitz, a camp in East Poland which had an unknown amount of people killed. What we do know is loyalists to the Weimar Republic went there, and Judaists went there, and whores and prisoners. The difference between a killing centre and a camp is the camp had a horrible version of efficiency. Many people would die to starvation and disease, other than just dying, or they would try escape, which never worked. One time, there was an uprising in 1944, planned for several months, when they got hands on the guns and 800 people died. The officers knew the prisoners through tattoos and clothing marks. We know this because the Red Army were the first to discover the concentration camps in February 1940.
Of the whole of our colonial possessions, these philanthropic considerations evidently carried little noticeable weight with democratic statesmen. Today I can only assure these gentlemen that...
Now, on the Nazi perspective, now that we did the school part of things, the one creating this is the opposition of the Nazis, but has an understanding of them, so he decided to share it. Me, Adolf Hitler, and the Nazis think. There's a book called History of Central Banking that describes our enemies, the Rothschild and the Federal Reserve. It's what me, JFK, Napoleon, and perfect examples are Gaddafi and Lincoln all have in common are opposed to central bank. And they were either killed or forced into a war for it.
Frontiers and being whipped out.
The Nazis think the Leuchter report debunks the Holocaust, and David Cole, the Nazis think, had a documentary in '92 supporting this, even though I didn't live then. The Nazis think a disease called typhus killed many Germany, but not Jewel within. We do admit to kicking them out, but here's why. Nazis think that the Judaism is a religion of the bad on, and a political virus that had went to the West and ruin all Western culture, similar to what Hitler says in his speeches.
Snatching for itself all the leading positions in...
Germans think this religion, but not the people created the Weimar Republic. There's a Nazi documentary that they hide under, and it's called Europa, The Last Battle. And the book, Hitler, the greatest story never told, the Nazi information gets to the world. It is propaganda after the war. And all Nazis think there were in fact con camps. But instead of 6 million people unconcaused, it was only 60,000 people who unalived.
Of such an...
I don't trust most the information on both sides, because nobody will tell the full and honest truth after having a world war together. But the starting of WoWie 2 was more economic, and in the shadows on why it really started. I believe the starting of WoWie is now shrouded in mystery, but I can guarantee it was the enslavement of Germany after the war forces WoWie to be inevitable.
So enthusiastic about these splendid people, their cents to the square kilometre is supposed to have room for them. 2, they assure us we cannot take them unless Germany is prepared to allow them a certain amount of capital to bring with them as immigrants.